Okay.
Today, I am joined by Bart Johnson. You may recognize him from portraying the role of Coach Bolton on High School Musical. Do I have your permission to post this episode of The Inspiration Show on social media? If so, may I proceed?
Yes. Proceed away.
Thank you. So, when did you start acting and what got you started?
Well, when I was a little kid, I grew up on the set of TV shows. My mom was a hairstylist. So I was around it. I was like kind of watching it. I was in the hair and makeup trailer, and she worked on a lot of classic shows like Mork and Mindy, Brady Bunch, Charlie's Angels, Mel's Diner, and then started getting into movies. So I would hang out on the set, and I kind of observed it, and I always thought it was really cool. But I never at any time did I ever think, oh, I could do that. It just seemed like I don't know. It was still, even though I was right there on set watching it, I felt like it was like a million miles away. I just never even thought about it doing myself. And then I was in high school, and I was lucky enough to go to a small town high school, which I was living in Los Angeles and then moved to this small town called Midway. And when you go to a small town, you can kind of do everything. You could play the sports, and you could, like old Troy Bolton, that you could do the sports and you could do the musicals and that kind of stuff. So I did that. I did all the plays, and I did a show called West Side Story in high school, and I played Action, who got to sing the song Officer Krupke. It was a really fun song. It was like really fun. I was like, oh, this is fun, man. This is cool. I dig it. And that was like the first time where I knew I loved it. I knew I loved performing like that, and being on stage, and but just all of it. Just loved all of it. Again, no idea that I would even be able to do this for a living until one day when I was in college. I just started college. I was about, geez, I must have been like, I was a teenager, I guess, 19 or so. And my mom invited me down to go visit her on the set of Newsies, if you know the TV or the movie, the musical Newsies. Well, I went down there and I visited, and everybody was my age. So I met like Christian Bale and Ellie Keats and David Moscow and Max Cassell and all these really cool actors that were my age. And they had this really interesting life. And I became friends with Ellie Keats, and I hung out with her, and I saw, she had this like cool house in Hollywood Hills, and she was like acting for a living, and like her circle was really cool, and a lot of like interesting actors and musicians. And I was like, whoa, man, it's like this bohemian lifestyle down here in the Hollywood Hills. It was like, whoa, it was like blew my mind. Like, wow, man, this is really wild. So I didn't think that much of it. I go back to college. And while I was in college, I got more opportunities to do theater. I started doing more theater. And I was really enjoying it. And then somebody asked me to do this TV show, to audition for this TV show, and I got the TV show. And so anyway, it just kind of evolved from there. I just started kind of working out of town, which I think is a huge advantage. I tell young people that all the time when they say, "Hey, I want to act. What should I do?" And I say, "Don't move to Hollywood. Stay wherever you're at and get all the local stuff first. It's a lot easier to get started out of town before you come into town." And that's kind of what I did. I did a couple things out there, and then one day I was in college, and I was working on TV shows, and I was doing theater all night and college all day, and I just wasn't getting sleep, and I fell asleep, and I rolled my car one night, and I've got this little scar on my elbow that reminds me of like, well, you can't do it all, and when you try, you get, you really get spread thin, and something's going to give. And that was, for me, was like, okay, this, maybe I better not do this. I better, focus on something. And I couldn't really afford a college that had like a great theater program or anything like that. So I said, I'm going to go to Hollywood, packed it up, and moved to Hollywood, and started waiting tables, just kind of the classic stuff. So yeah, that was the beginning.
Very, very determined.
That was a really long story for a short question. Sorry, I really ran with that one.
That's okay. What inspired you to become an actor?
Well, I guess meeting some people that were really passionate about what they were doing. And then I guess, I think it's important to think about when you're, you seem really young to me, at your age, to just see what you gravitate towards. I've been having this conversation a lot lately with like freshmen in college, and so many people going to college to become the profession of their parents or their family members around them, or somebody that's like close, close to their in their world, wherever their world is, And so, and I thought, well, it's probably, could you say that again? Probably the best reason to go to college is, to see what else is out there, expand your worldview and see what you like and find out, I think a great first step is to find out what you're really passionate about, what you're excited about, and then try to figure out a smart plan around there. So anyway, that's my take.
Yeah, because when you find a job that you love and something you're passionate about, you never have to work a day in your life.
That's right. You do it right. You do it right. Make your vocation your vacation. Yep. You're set. Yeah.
So what led to your involvement with High School Musical?
Well, I knew Kenny Ortega from Newsies from way back then, and he was always very supportive of my acting career. And my mom continued to do hair for him, and so I was kind of doing my own thing and doing pretty well as an actor. And he had watched enough of my work to know what I was doing, and so I got a phone call from him one day, and he said, "Hey, there's all these actors that Disney wants me to use for this coach role, but I don't like any of these actors. So I want you to go in and read for these guys and show them your coach." And I was like, okay. So I'm in. He's like, oh, it's this great little movie. It's just a small little movie. It doesn't have a title yet. We're just calling it High School Musical until we can come up with something. And it's going to be great. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I said, I'm in. I love it. And so I went in and auditioned for the role originally. And I went to Universal Studios right down the street here from where I live. And I met with Natalie Hart and Jason LaPadura, the casting directors of the movie. And I didn't get it. I didn't get the role. And so so Kenny Ortega called me a couple days later. He said, "What happened? Disney says you're too young. What did you do?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I didn't do anything." He's like, well, what did you wear?" And I'm like, like a t-shirt and like some jeans. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you're supposed to have Zac Efron as your son." And I'm like, how old is he? I don't know. I have no idea. So he's like, "Okay, listen, go back in there." And he arranged for me to have a screen test. So he said, "Put some gray in your hair, put on a suit coat, and go in there and act older." I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I did all that. I got some gray in my hair and I put on a jacket. I went in there and acted, a lot more serious and, not youthful or whatever. And it was like, oh, okay. There you go. There he is. Okay. You got the part. And that's how I ended up there.
That's amazing. So what was it like being a coach to the Wildcats while also portraying the role of Troy's father?
Great question. And it's probably the thing I enjoyed most about working on these movies is because typically, like as an actor, you get cast as, like the hard-nosed coach or like the supportive father, but to play both was great. It's really great because not only am I involved in the movie a lot more and I get to work with the team and kind of have that dynamic, but I've got this relationship with my son where it's like, well, I got to be your coach and I got to like work hard and push you hard to challenge you as an athlete and, in this demanding area. But like at home, I need to be like supporting and loving and understanding and support his different ideas. So to be caught in the middle of that in my role, it's like, it's pretty unique. Like you don't really see that in movies very often. So I felt like that was a real gift that I got that and working with Zac, because Zac's he's a terrific actor and he takes his work very serious and he wants to do really great work and he took his scenes very serious. And, it's kind of like, Zac Efron's the lead in the movies and I got to, anytime he had like a really serious, heavy conversation, it was with me, it was with his dad. And it's like, I love that. And I feel like that was a gift for me to be able to do that.
I always love to think of Coach as two roles in one because you got to be coach and you also got to be dad.
Yeah. And that's what I feel. People call me Coach, probably more than anything, but some people call me Coach Bolton and others call me Troy's dad. It's like, okay, yeah, there you go. The two roles.
So what was it like portraying the role of Coach Bolton and what was your favorite quality of Coach?
I think I liked that, he was very passionate about basketball and Troy's obviously very passionate about basketball. At the same time, like I wanted him to make smart decisions, and I would imagine, that he's worked his whole entire life for this moment, for the senior year in basketball, where he could really has the opportunity to get a scholarship and really have his life taken off in a certain direction. And then here comes some girl that's like fills his head full of these nonsense ideas, and it's not the world I belong to. I belong to sports and realistic things, the scholarships you go on here, and this is how and this is how you make your way through college and everything else. And so the fact that he was, I mean, some people I think when people are young, I hear this sometimes, when people are really young, they're like, oh, I thought you were so mean. You were so mean in those movies. So then I grew up and I was like, oh, I get it. Like, I understand what he was talking about now. Like, yeah. Yeah. So I'm like caught in the middle. And that's, I think that's what I like, is that he was not like some closed-minded, hard-nosed, dumb coach. Like he struggled a little bit, and he had humanity, and he thought about like how, like I constantly was asking myself, like, how hard do I push? Like, where do you draw the line between healthy and unhealthy? Like, I want to push him really hard while it's still healthy, and I don't want to push at all. When I cross that line, it becomes unhealthy, or, like causing a problem, or, so like, I think maybe every parent kind of struggles with that. Like, how do you encourage your kids and push them along to do the best, and not just be a buddy, or you not just say what's the most fun, but, you want to, it's your job to put them in the best position to be prepared for life. Like, that's our job. At some point it's, you're just nurturing and feeding them, and, like, but as they get older, before they leave the house, it's like, okay, I got to arm you. I got to prepare you. I got to get you prepared to like be on your own and be an independent and make your living and make your way in the world, and make the right decisions. So anyway, I try to bring all the reality of like having kids, and now that my kids are like Troy Bolton's age, I wonder if I play different. I don't know, because I felt like I was way too young to play Coach Bolton. I was when they gave me the role, they said, "Oh yeah, and this is your son." I was like, I would have had to have been like 10 years old to have a kid this old. Like, it was really weird for me to play a dad to a teenager. That was bizarre for me, because like in real life, my kid was like 1. So it was very strange, very, very strange for me to kind of go to that position. So anyway, yeah.
Did you do any preparation to help you prepare for that, having like an older child in the movies?
Yeah, well, luckily I have spent a lot of time with family and understanding, that age, and preparing to go off into the world, I guess. And I just remember my own self, going off, because I did sports. I did a lot of sports, and when I was going into college, I was trying to make a decision. I thought I could be a professional skier, or I could pursue acting. And it was like these two things. And, little did I know, I guess I had my own little, and I actually didn't really think about that until right this moment right now. But I guess I had a little bit of my own Troy Bolton conflict there, because I knew I could be, I had raced against mogul skiers all around the world. And I felt like I could take them. I felt like I was good enough that I could have pursued that, and I could have gone, chase the Olympics. I really feel like I could have done that. And at the same time, I discovered acting, and I was acting a lot and doing plays, and now I'm doing TV shows, and then you start thinking, about the reality of it all, and it's like, well, there's nothing I love more than skiing. Like, there's nothing I'm better at than skiing. Like, 25 years into my acting career, I still joke and say, man, I wish I could act as good as I ski, because I still think like I'm a better skier than I am actor. But your career ends, at a very young age, and acting, like, it never ends, like it has a much longer life. So I thought, maybe I'll just do that. just ski for fun. So yeah.
I think it'd be really cool to see you do like a movie about skiing, or where you get to like put acting and skiing together.
Yes, I would love it. I've auditioned for a couple things, but I've never got one. And then I see the people that got the part, and they can't ski, so they always have their stunt double. And then they have a, and it's a stunt double, because they got like the full face mask on and everything. And then they have to ski like into the scene, like when you start the beginning of a scene, usually, like, a lot of times, like, people walk into the scene like, oh, hey, what's going on? And then you start the scene. And so they have to come up and like whoosh, ski into the scene. And it's like, they're terrible. They can't fake that stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, they didn't even get a real skier for this part. My gosh.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes away the magic.
It does, man. It does. Well, one of these days I want to do it. I thought it'd be really fun to do like an 80s ski movie, like a throwback to some of those movies like Hot Dog or some of the ski school and like the kind of there's some really funny kind of wacky 80s ski films that they haven't no one's tried to do that in a long time, but I thought that would be really fun. I might have to do that.
We can go from basketball coach to ski coach.
Yes, yes. Well, when there was the High School Musical 4 and then a TV series, there's all these different iterations of the High School Musical 4 and of the TV series, and they had me like in all sorts of different sports. Like one time I was going to be the soccer coach. I was going to be the main soccer coach, and then I was going to be just head of the athletic department at the high school, which is a common thing. And then I was going to be a vice principal. I was going to be East High's vice principal of the movie. So it's like they've done all these different roles, but no,
I would love to see that.
Yeah. There's some good ones. There's some good versions, but yeah, they didn't make any. They passed on all those.
So, what is one thing that you learned while portraying the role of Coach Bolton?
Boy, man, there's a lot. There's a lot. I guess the thing I learned the most is it's a journey, like being an adult and being a parent and being a coach and being a dad. It's all a journey. And there's so many overlapping lessons to learn. I coach a lot now. That's what I do in all my spare time. I coach my kids. I'm just a volunteer here in Burbank. I coach at all the local soccer teams, and I've coached at least one team, sometimes up to three teams, because I got three kids. So I'll coach three soccer teams at the same time, and it's crazy. But I would do that. I did that for years. And so now I'm coaching the Burbank All-Star team, and I love it. I love it. And there's so many life lessons. And what I've learned is there's so many incredible life lessons in coaching. But if you don't point them out, if you don't stop and learn the lessons just kind of go by. So if you could just take a second, and I kind of feel like that's one of my favorite jobs as a coach. We lose a game and everybody's down, and sometimes they're crying, like they'll feel like cry. They are so invested. And then I get to say like, oh man, what a beautiful lesson right here. This is a beautiful lesson. And I said, you guys, look at this. Look at it. This game is life. What we're doing, like this is life. It's a game. And here we are, we get to play a game. And just because we didn't win the game, we're not happy. So we're only happy if we win the game, but we're still playing a game. You're still putting on a jersey. You're out there playing. I would kill to put on a jersey and go out there and play in a game and have refs and a scoreboard and like everything. Are you kidding me? Like that'd be amazing. That sounds like such a riot to me. Like I would kill for that. And it's like, and here you are playing a game. And just because you didn't win, you didn't enjoy it. And I said, this is life. Life is a game. And if you only are happy when you're winning, it's not going to be a good life. But if you can enjoy the game always, and you remember you're just playing the game, you get to play. You get to play. You get to play all the time. And if you can enjoy those losses and you can enjoy the times where you just get to play, life's going to be a lot more fun. So there's all sorts of different lessons, I think, to learn on the pitch.
Yeah. I love learning from coaches because they get to pass on their wisdom. And then when you win, it's just a celebration. But when there's a loss, you get to learn from it and you get to be better from it. And like you said, you can learn so much and you just got to get your head in the game.
That's right. That's exactly right. You enjoy your wins and there's some great lessons there too. But typically when we win, we tend to party. And when we lose, we tend to ponder. And yep. So it's all important part of the process. And at the end of the day, you just gotta get your head in the game.
Yep. Do you have a favorite scene or favorite memory from High School Musical?
Oh, geez. Man, that's a good question. I like. I really enjoyed all my scenes with Zach. Like anytime there was something where we got to sit down and have a scene. What's great is when you have a scene where you don't know how the scene's going to end as an actor, or when you're reading it and you're like, oh, this could go this way or that way. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to enter the scene and communicate this idea and then leave. Instead, you like come in and you're like, hey, what's going on? Oh, and they tell you something you don't know. And you're like, oh, okay. And so you kind of experience things together. You kind of have this moment, and then Zach is so present and available as an actor. Like he's so great to talk to and work with that it makes those acting moments just really fun. So I would say like that's my favorite. And then a very close second is when you do a TV show or a movie, it's all very similar. It's all the same kind of stuff, except when you're doing a musical, so you do a scene. Like if I did a scene, if there's a scene of you and me, there's two people in a room. Okay, we'll start with camera over here and we're both in it. We shoot a master. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to shoot, your direction. And then you're going to shoot my direction. And we might do a couple close up little inserts. That's it. Well, on a musical, it's like, okay, we do all the same kind of stuff. Okay, now everybody stop, bring in the sound system. Let's do playback, bring in all the dancers. And it's like a big theater show. So it's like for me, if I'm in a scene that's a big musical, it's like we're working. Oh, it's time for the musical number. I get to sit back. I got my popcorn and I'm like watching the show. I'm like, this is amazing. This is amazing. And I get to see him putting on this incredible performance and then working on it and maturing it and adding to it and making it this really big, beautiful thing. It's a blast.
And that's why I love musicals. I enjoyed all your scenes, but I have to go with, where's my team, Jarvis? What the heck am I doing in a tree?
Yeah, well done.
That was not close to how amazing you do it, but
that was great. I love it. Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun. And I'll tell you, I'm so grateful that it came out like that, because when I read that scene in particular, I was like, I'm just going to make this, I'm going to take it to a 10, like on this scene. Like I feel like it's like, this is so important for old Coach Bolton. Like I got a state championship. I'm going to make this, I'm going to just make it like life and death, what's going on right here. And so it kind of came out the way it did. And it's like, everybody loved it. So I'm very happy that worked out like that.
Yeah. And it's very iconic.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks.
So even though High School Musical was made 16 years ago, what are the elements of the movie that you think have made it a cult following and connect to each new generation that watches it?
That's another great question. And I think it's Kenny Ortega is really the answer to that. He put so much heart and soul into this. He just treats it like his baby. And he just makes things so, everything's important to him. The dialogue for all the actors themselves and casting it, the music, he rewrites the lyrics and just makes sure everything is just this big, beautiful thing. And then here's an interesting thing about Kenny Ortega that I don't think people realize, or I've never heard anybody talk about him, is that he seems to gravitate towards projects that are positive. He wants to bring something positive into the world. Like, where's the light? Where's the happiness? Where's the joy? How are we going to bring something great? So if you look at his projects, like, he doesn't have anything that's really dark, or like real, like, oh, let's get real. No, he's like, I think, I'm not speaking for him, but it's just kind of my observation. It feels like he's like, you know what? There's enough of that in the world. There's people that are really good at that. But like for me, I feel like he's saying, I'm going to bring beauty into the world. I'm going to bring light and joy and happiness. And like, maybe it's a hyper reality, but it's like, it's all going to have like a really sweet message, and it's going to be a really important message. And, we're all in this together, don't stick to just the status quo, or, all these really important universal messages told in a really fun, clever, beautiful, passionate, musical way. And I think it just resonates with everybody.
It truly does. I could connect to it, and Kenny is amazing. And I think one reason why High School Musical is so loved is because it's so relatable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Everybody. Yeah, a lot of around the globe. It's a good message for a lot of young. It's the kind of stuff you want your kids to put in their head.
Yeah. Very positive, very bright, and it shines a light on musicals and theater kids and high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So now I have to ask you a favor to end off this interview. I would like to live out my High School Musical dreams by doing the Wildcat chant with you. Can we do that?
Oh, gosh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you want to start us off? You
want me to do it?
I can do it with you if you want to start it.
I'll do it. Wait, yeah. Oh, I mean, do you want me to do you mean the callback? Is that what we're doing?
You want to do the start off and I'll do the callback?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. You ready? You ready for that?
Ready.
Is this it?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Hang on now. Let me get serious here. What team?
Wildcats!
What team?
Wildcats!
What team?
Wildcats!
Wildcats!
Get
Get your head in the game.
That was everything I wanted it to be and more. Thank you so much, Bart, for joining me on the Inspiration Show. I greatly appreciate it. It was an absolute honor to get to speak with you.
It was a pleasure. Very nice talking to you. Thank you for such interesting and pleasant conversation and questions. And it was great chatting with you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Love my wild.